All right, so we've got a 77 Kingsley, and we've got a pretty serious alignment problem on the right rear. And I looked on YouTube, couldn't find any videos about how to fix this, and so I'm gonna give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. So we've had a problem for quite a while, and I found that our tires were wearing out really quickly. Over a 300-mile trip, I measured about 1/32 of an inch of tread loss. So we've got a pretty serious problem in the right rear. And I need an overall four-way alignment, but I can't find any alignment shop that will take care of the problem that we have on the right rear here. And from doing some research, I think that the first thing I need to do is get the two rear tires aligned. So that involves bending the bogie arms so that the tires actually align. So the way I'm checking that is with the straight edge here and putting the straight edge across the front of the hubs. So I've already, of course, taken off the wheels. I took off the dust caps on the front of the hub so that I could get a flat surface here to line up against. And what I found is there's a little bit of a gap up here at the front. So if I get it flat across the hub, this is a little bit back. But on this one, there's a pretty significant gap on the back side of the hub here. So when I have it lined up in the front and with the other wheel, I've got a pretty big gap here. So I think the first thing I need to do is try to bend this arm out a little bit to close that gap, and that might help me line up with this one better too. So that's where I'm going to start. All right, so to bend this arm, I rented a 10-pound Porta Power, and I'm going to use this 10-ton kind of a hockey puck type of ram. And what I need to do is get this back here behind the bogie arm, between the arm and the frame. And there's quite a bit of space here, so I'm going to need to build a spacer that's just the right size for this to basically get in there and push the arm out. This only has about ½ an inch of movement, and so I'm going to need all of that ½ an inch, I think, to push the arm out enough to actually get a little bit of a bend to straighten it out. So I'll need to figure out how to come up with a spacer. I think I'm going to use wood, and I'm going to use hardwood so that it doesn't smash as I try to push this arm out. All right, so I found a block of oak that should be sturdy enough for this, and I'm just holding it here as I pump this Porta Power, and that's going to snug up against the back of the bogie arm, and then we should see that arm bend out a little bit. Yeah, I can see it moving a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to get my straight edge and see how close we're getting. And I think I'm going to need to go a little bit too far, a little bit past where it's straight, because I think it's going to want to spring back a little bit. So that is definitely closer right there. So that's pretty close. I'm going to try to go a little further. I'm getting close to the end of the reach of this. I can see it moving a little more. That feels like I'm at the end right there. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, boy, that is pretty much straight across the front of the hubs. Now I think the problem is going to be that it'll snap back a little bit when I take the pressure off. So we'll just see what happens. Take that pressure off. Okay, so I've used several shims and spacers to work my way out with the hydraulic press. Because it has such a short throw and because the movement here is so great, I've had to kind of work my way out. But the alignment now, if I put my straight edge across the front of these hubs, The space on the front here now is similar to the space that I had in the back before. And so this has come out quite a ways. And where before, when I put it flat across this hub, it was out in front of this other one. Now, when I put it flat across this, I'm coming in about ½ an inch behind. And so as I take the hydraulic press out, this is going to spring back. There's been quite a bit of movement here, but I think I will be at least close to where I need to be. And it's going to take some trial and error to work the way out with this. I don't know if this is the way it is with a disc brake setup, and drum brakes would be a little different, but depending on how much space you have back there, there's going to have to be a little trial and error to get enough movement. This bogey arm obviously can move quite a ways without bending, so that's great once I get it into the right space, but to get it pushed back out where it needs to be is taking quite a bit of work. Okay, so we have pushed this quite a ways out past where it was lined up, so that when I was flat against the hub here, I was actually in a bit on this other hub. And of course it's sprung back, but it is pretty close now. So there's a tiny gap here still, but it's less than we had before. And when I put it flat against this hub, it's a little bit off this hub, but now it's only about ¼ inch. Maybe 3/8 of an inch, and so that's better. I was worried about pushing any harder. We were getting quite a bit of tension here, and I was getting a little worried about maybe bending the frame or something as I was pushing against it, because I didn't have great position for the press back there. So it's better than it was. I'm still going to have a 4-way alignment done, and so getting the alignment checked, even if these two wheels aren't perfectly aligned, should help with tire wear overall. And so I feel like I made some improvements today. We'll see how it does.